What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the Only Sports Podcast. That's right, the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino over there.
Hey.
We are back. Welcome
Again.
back. Yeah. Well, just to pull back the curtain a little, we tried to record this episode on Tuesday.
No, we didn't try.
Or no, we did.
We did an hour and 20 minutes.
We recorded a full episode on Tuesday talking about the same stuff we're going to be talking about today. The only problem was my microphone was hooked up to this bad boy, the headphones, and not the microphone in front of me. So you could not hear me at all. And if I've gotten one complaint since we started this podcast, it is people don't like when Casino talks. So if there's only a podcast with just Casino talking, I mean, we're done for. We're cooked.
God damn it.
As the kids say.
No, that's fair.
So...
No, that's fair. Yeah, I'm the Robin. That's for sure.
No, we're Superman and Batman, the world's finest, right? But we have legitimately been now. It would have been 2 days ago, but now when we're recording this, it's Thursday the 1st. So we have legitimately not recorded a new episode in 2 months. Our last episode was June 1st. We skipped all of July and we're back on August. So how you been, Casino? Where have you been? Why have we not been recording?
Life, man. We kind of did, as you said, just kind of snowballed, man. We got busy with our lives and it was like, we'll do it the next day. We'll do it the next day. Hey, we got to talk about the NBA finals. We got to talk about the NHL finals. Just never happened. And then to touch on that, Celtics, good for you. You won. We kind of picked that from the get-go. That it was going to be tough to beat them. And then good for the Panthers on coming back and actually taking the win. Getting back to the finals and winning. Good for them. There's your recap of the NBA finals and the NHL finals. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, some of the absolute worst NBA finals in my basketball watching life, which I started watching the NBA when I was like maybe 9 or 10, and that was one of the worst rounds.
The hockey was pretty good. Final-wise, but still, whatever. It's all good.
But there is actually some live sports going on at the moment that we wanted to touch on briefly, and that is the Olympics, Casino. Also, 2 days ago when we recorded this episode already, I didn't have the little things down in the corner. Well, because of those 2 days, now we do. So the little things in the corner
I know, but I seem a little like down right now starting this recording. I'm like, yeah, we're back, whatever. Because I was so hyped up on Tuesday. I wore a button-up shirt open, which was great. I looked fantastic. I had some gusto. And then about 20 minutes after we recorded, BJ was just like, hey, I didn't have my sound on. It's like, okay, cool. That's how we start this again. Let's go.
Hey, that was on Tuesday.
That was delightful.
I spent all day Tuesday trying to fix that audio and nothing, and I mean nothing, was saving that. So I was talking to my son about it because he was trying to help me, and he was just like, nobody can hear you. And I was like, I know we can't release our first new episode in 2 months and it just be this shit. We can't do it. So we're back here for the fans, despite Casino. But I really thought you were going to just be wearing an open shirt again, and we were going to try to recreate that magic. But no. Also, I didn't even realize I said Batman and Superman, and I'm wearing a Superman shirt. For those just listening to this, Casino just popped the shirt off while I was showing my Superman shirt. So
it's breezy.
You really are Batman. You really are Batman, Casino. I'll be Superman.
I'm Batman.
I love all those. I mean, there's a very famous comic where Batman fights Ra's al Ghul with his shirt off. So, but you got to put a Batman mask on to really recreate it and have chest hair, which will be harder to do than just putting a towel on.
Got it.
But now, what you've all been waiting for, some hot Olympics talk.
Doing oh, I thought you were getting back to me taking my shirt off. All right,
No,
anyway.
no, we're done with the hotness. Your shirt is back
I'm
on. Now let's talk about the hotness that is the Olympics, Casino. What do you want to talk about first?
um, yeah, so the Olympics have been quite exciting. I've I've watched a lot because my son wakes up super early. He wakes up at 5 in the morning every morning, and so pretty much the Olympics start at 1 a.m. here in the Pacific Coast. Um, so I'm catching the heart of the action, mid Olympic day at 5 a.m. There's been some good stories. The women's rugby, U.S. women's rugby, that was a great one. They win bronze on the last play in the rugby sevens, which was cool. There's been a lot of tight matches. I was watching the air rifle finals for women. I think it was South Korea versus um, Vietnam, Japan. I don't remember which one, but they had to go to a shootout, which was pretty cool. With it goes to like a crazy decimal point, and after all their shots added up, it was they hit the same decimal point, so they had to go to a shootout, which was pretty cool.
Jesus.
That's never happened, which was pretty neat. Um, yeah, but my favorite story is um, there was a Turkish air rifle pistol shooter, and he doesn't have any headgear, any special sights or anything. He just goes up there and he won silver, was standing up there wearing just a regular t-shirt with that just has his country on it, hand in pocket, goes up there and shoots. He's definitely an assassin. He's definitely an assassin.
He looked like literally like a villain from like a PS2 game where you play a hitman and he's trying to take you out. Like he looked exactly like that.
Dude, yeah, that was one of my favorite things so far, if not my favorite thing of the Olympics. Um,
You
the
know
U.S.
what's
men's soccer team reached the qualifying round, the quarterfinals for the first time in 24 years, which is good for the future of U.S. men's soccer because, and same with the women's. It's important for the men going through because um, you have it's a certain age group. You have to be under a certain age to go. So basically, it's all your youth players, and U.S. is notorious for never playing their younger stars. Um, so it was nice to see that a lot of like bench players and up and comers for the U.S. teams both have done very well in the Olympics. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's probably all the parents being like, "Wait, soccer doesn't give our kids CTE like football does? Let's put them in soccer." Cuz I'll tell you what, that's a real conversation my wife and I have had about what sports our sons should play.
Oh, yeah. Before my son was born, that conversation was happening. It's like, nope. I mean, my son's gonna be built like a linebacker. He's just gonna be a big kid, and yeah, my wife's like, nope, just not happening. We're gonna put him in basket weaving, underwater basket weaving. Like, fair enough. Let's go.
Hey, that's going to sweep the world in about 20 years. In about 20 years. But what I've said to my wife is I was like, "Let's get him into baseball." Cuz baseball players make so much stupid money and they don't get tackled by dudes twice their size. So,
Yeah, and the only like real collision that you could have in baseball was coming down the third baseline into home plate, but they got rid of that. The catchers can't block the plate anymore. They can't block the line. You can't run through them. They got rid of that play, which is sad because I always liked that play.
that's true. And also my dad what is it got drafted by the Cardinals and
That
then the
is true.
Dodgers. So hopefully that talent skipped a generation and then just went right
Oh, it
over me to
definitely
my
skipped. It
sons.
definitely skipped a generation.
I don't think I've played baseball since the age of 9.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I've seen you try to throw things like bocce ball. Like you can't even do it on like
Coob,
coob,
Coob.
coob.
We got to do one segment or one episode one day, just a special episode explaining and showing how great Coob is. Because I've
That's fair.
never heard it discussed outside of our group of friends. And
Yeah,
it's the best game ever. It's the best game ever. That
fair
should
enough.
be an Olympic sport.
Coob?
Coob would be awesome. Don't
Uh,
don't lie, you would watch that.
I would watch it. I watch every Olympic sport, dude. I legitimately will try to watch every Olympic sport that I can.
Uh,
I I just love sports so much that I things that I don't have the availability to watch, on a normal basis, because they're just not popular in the US. I really dig. I really really enjoy watching things that I don't get to watch on a regular basis. So yeah, the Olympics
wait,
have been fun.
hold on, I am going, I've just made a call to include this topic we're going to discuss right now, Casino, which is what are your top 3 Olympic sports you like to watch?
For summer or winter or
For
both.
the ones going on right now.
Okay. Um,
And you can't say soccer, you can't say basketball. I'm talking stuff like you said that's just basically Olympic specific.
oh, well,
Cuz I'll go. If you're
okay,
still
go
thinking,
for it.
I'll go.
Yeah, of course.
Mine my number 1 is archery. I love watching the archery competitions. There was that great clip, and unlike you, I've been watching the replays at night where they air them from like 5 to 10.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not waking up at or I'm not staying up to watch them or waking up early to watch them, I just
Well,
watch
yeah.
the
Well,
replay.
I see. I get home. We both get home late, so I start watching them at night, and then I get 3, 4 hours of sleep. I get up with my son, and then mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But there was that great clip where it was the American versus I can't remember what country she was from, but her one of her shots got messed up because a bee landed on the tip of her arrow right before she shot it. I mean, she was getting blown out of the water, so it's not like it cost her a close match, but still, it was cool that they showed a zoomed in thing of the bee landing on the tip of the arrow right before it shot. That was cool. I like archery. I always like doubles table tennis because that is insane.
just call it
It's
what it is. Ping pong.
I mean, ping pong, whatever. And that's one of those things like I would never watch or follow a ping pong league, but when it's on in the Olympics, you're like, I mean, why not? And then my number 3, it's got to be swimming. And that might just be because of we're in the generation where it was like Michael Phelps mania was just I mean, the biggest thing to come out of the Olympics in USA in our
And
lifetime.
and that's what I love about that story is the new French, the new French swimmer who is just lighting it up, and everybody's really excited that he's gets to be basically the host swimmer for this event or for these Olympics. His coach was Michael Phelps' coach, and that coach has pretty much he's like a wizard. Almost every single great Olympic swimmer that guy has coached, which is awesome. And and this guy's just blowing people away. But yeah, um, man. So there's so many good Olympic sports.
I didn't know this would break your brain, Casino.
It did a bit. I do like watching handball a lot.
Oh, handball is fun. That's
Handball
a
is
good one.
a lot of fun. Um, yeah, that one's really fun. I like handball.
That is
Archery
also
is
one I can't believe handball doesn't have any play outside of the Olympics.
that's fair.
That's one of the ones where I'm like,
Well, I
how
thought
does
there was
this not
handball leagues overseas.
Yeah, but I'm saying like in America, how
Oh
is
yeah,
that not a summer alternative to football? That
that's a
seems
good
like a
point.
summer sport you just throw on and you're like, "Oh, this is interesting."
Right. So yeah, so I would say handball definitely one. I do like archery. That's something that you don't get to see all the time. I like to shoot arrows. That's fun. And then track and field, just because I was in track and field, and I there's so many different events in track and field that are fun to watch. But yeah, and then I would have to say I do love. I mean, gosh darn it, that's a really tough question for me.
Oh, you know what?
I watch a shit ton of beach volleyball. Um,
I bet you do.
I do men's so good. I
Again, I bet you do.
what I love about beach volleyball, it's 2v2. That's fantastic. I all the respect for the indoor full court or full team volleyball. I could never do that. That ball gets hit so fucking hard, and I just can't. But I like the team aspect of it's just being you and one other person. Beach volleyball. I like playing every time I go to the beach. Big fan of beach volleyball ever since I was a little kid. Um, ooh, I know one. Nope, I got it. It's the canoe slalom.
I don't
The
know what that
the
is.
canoe and kayak slalom. There you go. Exactly. Look it up. So essentially, it's they make a rapids that they have to go down, and you have to go
Ooh.
through. They have to go through like suspended checkpoints, like as you would like ski slaloms, and it is outstanding. And there's ones where they, when you go through, are green when you go straight through, and then you have to go backwards upstream and go around in red ones, which is pretty insane. So that would probably be my number one unique one. So let me reassess here. So I would have to go canoe and kayak slalom because you never see that. Handball because we just don't get to see much of that. Um, and then archery. So those would be the unique ones that you don't get to really see.
You know what? I'm switching out swimming for fencing. I really like
Fencing's fun.
fencing. You know which one does not translate to television at all and is super boring to watch, and I can't believe they haven't thought of a way to make it more television friendly, is the shooting competitions, where they just release the clay pigeons or whatever, and then they just shoot them.
Yeah, the
It happens.
skeet shooting, but they call it something else in the Olympics, but
Dude,
it's
it
skeet shooting.
happens so fast. You can't even see what happens, and then it's just
Yeah.
like pink dust, and then they're like, "And the next one, that one is just a bore." But handball was a good pool casino because handball is fun. Um,
Wait till you watch the canoe and kayak slalom. It's insane.
whenever I
It's
haven't even
insane.
seen that one on television. But what did you think of last bit on the Olympics casino? What did you think of the opening ceremony?
Um, too much.
Dude, it
Well,
was like 4 hours long.
it was way too long, and I didn't care for it because it got super political, and
Well, that's why we're not talking about the boxing thing today. Dear Lord.
yeah, I'm just
Just I
the
don't
it
give a shit. I don't
yeah,
care. That's
I
the
don't
thing.
either.
Ugh.
So the fact that it was just super political, I mean, I I like when they do things with the athletes. So like the very end where they were all like running together to go light the flame, that was cool. Besides that, I like all the performances I don't really care for. Like that's not Olympic related. Yes, it is to the nation, which is cool,
Yeah.
but I, for the most part, no. Like I'm not really into it. So
Except for that Gojira performance, the French metal band that had
yeah,
the Marie
the
Antoinette and then the flames and stuff.
that was
That was fucking cool.
that was cool. That one was cool. I mean, again, very topical to their country. And you want to celebrate since you're hosting, totally get that. Um, but there was just too much. It was just all in all
I
too
agree.
much. Even the non-political stuff, it just felt way too long. I don't remember an opening ceremonies being that long. Like the horse for the spirit of the river that's there.
That was cool.
And that was cool, but it lasted like 20 minutes. The ladies on the bridge were like, "Oh,
No.
and it's going to be coming by in any minute now, any minute now." Same with the boat with the Olympic flame, and you had Serena Williams on there, and I forget whoever else was on
Dude,
that
I
boat.
mean, Snoop Dogg was on screen every 20 minutes.
Oh, I love Snoop
Like,
Dogg. He's having an absolute blast. I love that he has a T-shirt for almost every U.S. Olympian that's there, and
yeah.
he's going to every match. Just like, yo,
All right. And right there, I just edited that part out, which is what the Olympics should have done. They should have edited that 3 hours down to
you
about an hour and a half.
you edit that part out.
Yeah. And what we've learned doing this podcast casino is 2 hours is too long. An hour and 30 is slightly too long. An hour 15 is where it's at. That's what the Olympics opening ceremony should have been. Should have been a brisk pace. Also, I hated how they did the people on the boats, the countries on the boats, because there was so many fucking countries. That's what took 4 hours. Because it
Yeah.
was like, here's 20
It was
boats.
80 it was 84 boats.
We're back make it even editing further, making it even tighter, Casino. I know you like that. But
Hmm.
now now that we're done talking about the Olympics, let's get into our
Let's go.
main squeeze, our bread and butter. We have the next about 2 months, so what, 16 episodes? No. Yeah, 16 episodes planned out for
That
NFL.
seems like way too many.
Let me count.
What are
One,
we doing
two,
here?
one,
What are we doing
two,
here?
three, four,
So
five,
we've
six.
so we
No, it's 10. Next 10
10
episodes.
episodes? Sweet. So
Yes.
we'll see you for about 5.
Yeah. We will be back every week, Tuesday and Thursdays during the football season, maybe Sundays,
Which
maybe if
starts
something big
Thursday,
happens.
by the way.
Well, it
Which
starts
starts
tonight.
tonight. That's Thursday.
Yeah.
I forgot we're not recording on Tuesday anymore. I work this
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah, and there is a football game on tonight. The Hall of Fame game between the Texans and the Bears. And you know what? Curveball Casino, our first pick of the year is just going to be this preseason game. So who you picking, Texans or Bears?
Uh, the Bears?
Okay, I'm picking the Texans.
Why
Just
not?
just to be different. This is going to be the blue binder's back. It's back,
Oh
and
God.
I'm picking this is our first pick of
Did
the
did
season.
did it end up the same last year where I beat you during the regular season and then you beat me in the playoffs? Is that yeah, that happened again?
Yes. Yes. So
That sounds about right.
Casino
That sounds about my life.
Casino has beaten
Uh,
me both regular seasons we've been doing this. This will be the third year we're doing this, which is crazy. Where does the time go?
no, no.
But Casino's 2-0, but this is the year, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for 2 years. And I will win the regular season and the postseason this time. But we're picking Casino's picking Bears. I'm picking Texans. It doesn't matter. Caleb Williams not playing tonight. I'd be shocked if we see CJ Stroud. But we're not talking about those quarterbacks right now, Casino. We are talking about the two quarterbacks who just got paid,
Stupid.
and those two
And
quarterbacks
now I'm just
are
I forgot that's what we opened with last time, and now I'm just angry again.
yeah. So what happened was quarterback Tua Tagovailoa agreed to terms on a 4-year, $212.4 million extension with the Miami Dolphins. And that was slowly and slightly overshadowed a couple hours later when the Packers made Jordan Love the highest paid quarterback in NFL history with a 4-year, $220 million contract extension. Let's start with Tua first, Casino. Thoughts on the Tua extension for the Dolphins?
I mean, no, just no. He's a good quarterback. We've already talked about this. He's a decent quarterback, but he's very injury prone. And you take away Tyreek Hill, what is he? Like he was just another middle of the road quarterback that can get that you have to protect way too much because he's like a glass house. I'm stumbling over my words here because I'm just so furious. The fact that they make that much money and they're just mediocre. Oh man, I can't. That money is just insane.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's not like
also,
he's had time to prove himself. And
yes.
they're good. They're decent. They're a good team, good to above good team. But still, no. A lot of that has to do with Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill, the numbers that you see for Tua are so heightened because Tyreek is running after the catch. And it's making his numbers look 10 times better. So I don't like this move. I think it's dumb. We both love the new coach that they got. He's outstanding. The players, the organization has definitely gotten better over the past few years, but paying Tua that much when just a year ago people were questioning if he was going to be the guy, if he was still going to be in Miami. and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, yep, no, we're gonna give him all the money in the world. Just does
Yeah.
not make sense to me.
No, especially it doesn't make sense where, like you said, he's had years to prove himself. And much like a quarterback we're going to talk about after this, who's also dealing with quarterback issues, he's been a integral part of really good teams. And then he just can't get to that next level, right? Like everybody gave Jalen Hurts so much shit for that contract extension he got. I think it was last year or this offseason. I don't know. The NFL season has felt so long, or the NFL offseason has felt so long, but at least I've seen Jalen Hurts play potentially his best game in a Super Bowl and lead his team to a Super Bowl. When it comes to Love, I mean, at least he's unproven, right? He's only been a starter for 1
Oh,
year.
yeah.
So, when it comes to Tua, we've seen him be a part of really great Miami Dolphins teams, and then it's like, "Oh, when that Chiefs game was starting, we stupidly picked the Dolphins because we were just hoping the Chiefs wouldn't make it to the Super Bowl again." But in that Chiefs Dolphins game, the only criticism going into that game, or the only analysis going into that game, was like, oh, well, the Dolphins and Tua can't play in cold weather, so it's going to be the Chiefs. And then that's literally the only thing anybody said. And then you watch the game and it was like, oh, yeah, that's all that needed to be said because the Dolphins couldn't play in cold weather. They
Yeah.
got their doors blown off by every competent team they played last year, and then they blew the doors off every bad team, right? They had
Oh, sounds like the Cowboys.
yeah. And it's just that's basically who the Tua-led Dolphins have become, right? Like the the Cowboys of the East is this Dolphins team. And you're
Yeah.
right without Tyreek Hill, are we seeing as good a player as Tua has been? But again, he falls apart during the offseason, or not offseason, postseason. And then when it comes to Jordan Love, Casino, we discussed it many times last season, which was he had a very, very bad start to the beginning of the season. I believe we talked about it on the last episode we recorded. It was like he was 2-6
Something like that. Yeah.
start the year and then kind of caught fire at the end, but the Packers still finished 9-8. We're 3 points away from beating the 49 or 4 points away from beating the 49ers to go to the NFC Championship, but it was still, I don't know. I who do you have more confidence in, Lua or Love or Tua?
Um I I would have to say Tua just because I don't know what love is. I mean, I know what Tua
I
is,
want
and
you to
I
show me. I want to know what love is. I want you.
did you oh man, I feel like that was a whole setup for just that joke.
That was not. That was just
No,
I
no.
heard you say it and I was like, I gotta say this now. But
Well,
keep
I mean, that's uh, gosh darn it. That was as bad as my on Tuesday I did a "What is love"
yeah,
reference. So,
yeah.
you decided to beat me to it today. Okay. Fair enough. But what is love? Yeah. Anyway,
I want you
god
to
damn it.
show me. But no, but when yeah, I think the contract, but again, when we
Mm,
talk about Love versus Tua, they're both getting roughly the same amount of money. And if you look at Tua, it's he's going to be just before the season even starts, he's going to be at minimum the fifth or sixth best player in the AFC, right? In terms of
yeah.
quarterback,
Oh, yeah.
because you would put Mahomes, you would put Josh Allen, you would put Lamar Jackson, you'd probably put Joe Burrow, maybe CJ Stroud ahead of him. So right there, I feel like all five of those are not even debatably better than Tua, right? I don't think anybody could make the case that Tua is better than any of
No.
those five guys, six
Yeah, no.
guys. And then when it comes to Love, he's in the NFC, which is weaker, but then it comes down to there's such a short sample size of him being an actually good quarterback. Like, does this carry over? Is there a sophomore slump? I definitely
I
don't
mean,
think he did enough last year to make him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history.
right. I mean, all the fans can say right now is just, "Baby, don't hurt me." Like, just
I saw you sitting there and smoke was coming out of your ears because you were thinking of a pun to say. It was
Thank you.
uh, on that note, Casino,
Oh, God.
the elephant in the room when we're
Whoa, whoa,
talking
whoa,
about
whoa. I know I gained 10 pounds since we've last recorded, but chill out, bro.
well, no, when you took your shirt off, we were mesmerized.
No,
And
I just thought you were blinded by the light.
I
Just more
mean,
more song references. Let's just
well,
go. Let's just go.
but when it comes to
God, I am,
quarterback,
and you know what the crazy thing is? I'm
go
that
on.
white and I'm still like, I have my pool. I've been in my pool a lot this year. A lot because my daughter's a little older now. We're teaching her to swim. Um, and I've been in my pool so much. There's no cover, there's no shade, and I am still white as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I am putting on SPF 75. No, I'm putting on 50, but still, because if I don't put on 50, I'm gonna burn. Even 30, 100 times, I'll still burn.
See, but
What my
you
daughter just goes, "What are you gonna burn?" My skin, honey, because that is white. I'm like, I'm very happy that you got more of your mom's pigment. I can't be burned if I'm white. No, that's how I get burned.
but see, you
Because you
could
miss me.
be.
Oh,
We noticed, we took a
I said
picture.
I miss him because he can be wait after he gets burned and I miss him.
oh, thank you, honey. Yeah. All right, go back over there and continue playing. Thank you
But
so much. I
no,
love you.
we noticed when we took a picture of this to send to our friends that we were recording the podcast last time, your whiteness really brings out how red my face not only is, but gets when I'm
Well,
talking.
that's
It's so
that's just
red.
the lighting I have in the house. That's just how I mean, our we don't have a lot of actual we do have a lot of light fixtures in our house, but they're not very prominent light. We got a lot of open or a lot of windows, which is most of our light, but it doesn't look good because it would just be like all bright on one side. I don't have a
Yeah.
window facing me. Um, Again, I don't want to burn, so I just kind of shut the blinds. I live in the dark. I was
Yeah.
I
I
was
got
born in it.
this light shining on me right here.
Yeah.
So it makes my face look so white. And I got this fucking red dot on my forehead that I can't get rid of. I don't know. We're a mess, Casino. We're a mess. Speaking of things that are a mess,
This
like
show.
that train. I mean, this show one. Two, it is the elephant in the room when it comes to NFL quarterbacks and contracts, Casino, because every quarterback in the league is getting these high priced extensions. Lamar Jackson, Hurts, Love, Tua, and then the one that is on everyone's mind that always gets brought up when that happens is what about Dak Prescott, where he is the Cowboys quarterback last year of his I think the second deal he signed. The Cowboys still have not given him any indication that they're going to re-sign him, they're going to extend him, they're going to give him a big money contract in the realm of what Love or Tua got. So when it comes to Dak Prescott, Casino, what do you think happens with not only his contract but his future with the Cowboys?
Oh man, according to Jerry Jones, he's not going anywhere. He is their quarterback. I don't see Dak not being a Cowboy anytime soon. Fuck you, Jerry. You're a snake, man. You're a snake. I I have nothing against Dak, and if he can make that money, he can make that money. Not a bad quarterback, not a great quarterback. He's very middle of the road. We had a lot of our issues with him last year. Um, but that organization, I just can't trust Jerry Jones. I think Dak's going to stay. I think Dak's going to get his money because we've seen it in the past. Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones making dumb financial decisions. Look what he did with Zeke. Look what he did with Dak's um, first 4 year, $160 million contract. Like he spends money and puts money where it just doesn't work, and it's not going to
Yeah.
help. And it's not going to help the team. And Jerry Jones, sorry to say, they're not. These Cowboys are not going to be successful until he's moved on. Like until he's out of the picture. Which I'm not wishing him to die anytime soon. But I mean, let the dementia set in and just forget that you own the team. And let I feel bad for that organization, dude. I really do, because you know that everybody in that organization is just like, come on, man, just let go, just let go, and whatever that means to them, just let go. Give somebody else the reins. You don't need to be the coach, the manager, the fucking GM, the owner. You don't need to be all of that. So give
Yeah.
some people some actual work there to do.
Yeah, and then when you think about just what Dak Prescott is to the Cowboys, he is a very good regular season quarterback like Tua. He plays better than Tua against good teams like during the regular season, but
Mhm.
then when you get to the postseason, I mean, when it was the Packers Cowboys game, speaking of love, Packers Cowboys game last or this previous postseason, everybody knew what was going to happen, and then no one was shocked when it actually did. We as a viewing
That's
audience,
so true.
were only shocked that it happened so quickly in the game, right? Where what the Packers were up like 21-0 going into the second quarter or something like
Right.
that. So it becomes a point of, yes, you should keep Dak as a Cowboy, right? That's all Jerry Jones just said all offseason is we're going all in, we're going all in. And then the only person they re-signed was Ezekiel Elliott, whose wheels fell off 3 years ago. CeeDee Lamb is also disgruntled about no contract on his end. They keep talking about how they want to give Parsons a big contract. So you have your three main pieces of this iteration of the Cowboys team all disgruntled, even if, Dak is a consummate professional and is not going to say that in front of a camera or in front of a microphone. Back behind the curtain, he has to be livid that all these guys who have less success and less years in the league of success than he does are getting these monster contracts, and he's just sitting there. It feels like kind of like begging for scraps at this point. Like,
It pretty much is, yeah.
yeah. And again, like you were saying with Jerry Jones, like you can't simultaneously be like, we're all in. Dak's going to be a Cowboy forever. We love this team, blah, blah, blah. We love CeeDee. We love Parsons. And then not pay anybody, not bring anybody in.
Because he
And
can't, because all of his money is tied up.
well, yeah, and we'll transition now to we're doing NFL over-unders today, but it just becomes one of those things where how much longer can you have an 11, 12 win team that can't get over the hump before you just have to rebuild? And maybe the rebuild starts with a new quarterback. Who knows?
It might. It definitely might, because you need to pay somebody a little cheaper so you can get better players in. Not saying
Yeah.
that he's a bad player, but different position players.
Last thing in the top 100 NFL players, Casino, Dak Prescott voted the 16th best player last year in the NFL by NFL players. Jalen Hurts voted 15th.
Hmm,
So that's
hmm,
interesting.
hmm.
That's interesting. But
You,
like
you couldn't wait to tell me that, could you?
I couldn't. I literally just saw it before we started recording, and it made me happy. But that's what we're doing today, Casino. We are doing over and under. Last time we tried this, we meandered on. So we're gonna do it a little bit quicker of a pace. And now
Oh,
we're
okay.
gonna break it down by divisions, Casino.
Let's do
So
that. Not alphabetical order.
yeah, because I felt like we
We
spent
talked
way
about the
too much
divisions.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, way too much time on teams that don't matter compared to the ones that do. And the first up, Casino, is the home of the Super Bowl champions, the AFC West. We're starting with the Chiefs, and I had this pulled up and then I did not, but it is right here. So over and under Kansas City Chiefs. And again, I'm using for the, I think, second or third year in a row, VegasInsider.com. They put every like MGM, FanDuel, ESPN, DraftKings, all of them in one area, and then they kind of just do the median. Most of them all are just same across the board, but there's a half difference with some teams. But I'm just using the basically consensus for all these teams. So
Let's
first
go.
up,
Yep.
Casino,
Yep.
Kansas City Chiefs over under 11 and a half wins. this next
Uh,
season?
Over, because I mean Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey are still making that sweet, 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 sweet love that it's definitely going over. Definitely.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think
Which, you
it's
know what? I'm very
over.
surprised because I thought it'd be done by now. But like he's on stage on tour with her doing things like man,
He's he's wearing
he
tuxes.
yeah, dude. He he's the one that got it in. He's the one that got it in.
um, but when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, what is their strength of schedule this year, Casino?
Oh, I have that pulled up. Let me see. I know it's not as bad as people would hope because it's Kansas City Chiefs, and that is Roger Goodell's fan base team. Like he loves that team so much.
Oh, I
They
mean,
have the 12th easiest schedule.
12th easiest. And let's not forget last year, their offense was everybody thought in a rebuilding mode, but they still won the Super Bowl. Have you seen the videos coming out of Chiefs training camp where remember Worthy, the wide receiver they drafted from Texas, where everybody
Hmm.
was like, oh my God, this is Tyreek Hill 2.0. But everybody was like, he's the fastest in the draft, but he's so tiny that it might not translate to the NFL. There is a video that came out of Chiefs training camp where he is getting pressed at the line by the Chiefs cornerbacks, and he doesn't get pancaked once. He gets pancaked twice and just literally thrown to the ground both times. So we'll see how that goes when he's playing against other giant cornerbacks and safeties in the league, if he can just get past them, because it looks like if you jam him at the line, you can literally just push him to the ground because he's like 5'10, 5'11, and 170
This new
pounds or something like
generation,
that.
just nothing but squibs,
But last year,
cupcakes.
the Chiefs had the second overall defense in the league. One of the best offenses in the league, obviously, because they have Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, they're going over, and I think we both agree on that. Next up, Casino, the Los Angeles Chargers, new coach, one of the Harbaughs. I always get Jim and John mixed up. One of the
Well, they're
Harbaughs.
identical, so
I mean,
I
yeah.
mean, come on
Thank
now.
you. Thank you for trying to rid me of that burden. But as far as the Chargers go, this is going to be much harder to just find them. The over under Casino
Is
is
8.5,
8.5.
and they are over, in my opinion, all day. It's happening. They're going over.
Yeah, I agree as well. I also went over because
I don't
they
trust the
get
Raiders. I don't trust the Broncos. The Chiefs are going to absolutely smack them around, but think they've had a good team for years. We've talked about their team for years, that they're there personnel wise. They should be, at least on paper. And I think they're just missing the coach. I think Harbaugh is going to come in and he's going to crush it. Yes, I know it's a big step going from college to NFL, but guess what? He's already done the NFL thing. He's already went to the
taking a
Super
team to
Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like so it's not like the transition that he doesn't know. He went to Michigan because he wanted to win a title, and he did. So, and it's much easier. I don't want to say it's much easier doing the college, but
The
when
best
you're
teams get the best players
yes, the
in
best teams get the
college.
best players.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so yeah, he did that. I think this Chargers team is finally going to turn around. They finally got rid of what was wrong in that organization. So it
Which
just
was
took
a lame duck coach
yeah,
and
it
had been a
just
lame duck coach for years.
it just
Yeah.
took a while.
Well, also, if you look at what has happened to the Chargers, obviously they have Herbert, who I know we're not as high on as other people are who talk about football. I mean, the most people who talk about football, you would think Herbert was like the second coming of Tom Brady. I'm not that high on him, but you also have to look at just the injury bug that has bitten this Chargers franchise for, I mean, years at this point. So I think you get Harbaugh into the building. We already saw how quickly he could turn around Michigan and Stanford and the 49ers. There's nothing that is telling anybody he won't do the exact same thing with the Chargers team, which would arguably be already the most talented team he would be taking over from the start.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So we're both going over for 7.5. We just talked about him,
Eight and a
Casino.
half. But
Or 8.5. I'm sorry. 8.5. We're both going over. We think this could be a 9-10 win team.
easy. I think
Yeah.
they hit double figures.
I do as well. Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders, and they are set at 5.5.
Oh, they're gonna have a rough year. They don't have a gimme game, which was Patriots in Vegas, because I've been both of those games and ripped my heart out both times.
Yeah.
So we don't have that game on the docket, so you can't count that as a win. I'm gonna say under. I think the Chargers and the Chiefs are going to beat up on the Broncos and the Raiders all season long.
Yeah, I completely agree with
So
you.
I'm going under. I think 6 is fair, 5 or 6, but I think 6 is what it's going to be, because they're going to play other
Well,
teams.
then that would be over.
No,
They're
6.
5.5.
The Raiders?
Yeah, I got it right here. They're 5.5.
I see 6.5.
No, they are only 6.5 at. Oh, it is 6.5. Why is that saying 5.5?
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm looking on it right now. In all top 6 of the betting,
You're
top 6 of all
correct.
the betting is sites, there are 6.5.
6.5. Oh, so
Yeah.
then I'm going under. I was going off 5.5 and still going under.
So I'm on Vegas Insider right now about that, and they have all of the major betting sites, and they all have them at 6.5.
Also, when we talked about them on the last episode we tried to record, I couldn't remember who their quarterback was, and now I feel ashamed. It's Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell are in a quarterback
Why'd you have to
battle
call us out like that?
because I couldn't remember, you couldn't remember, which also, when you can't remember the team's quarterback, is a good sign they're going to be an under, no matter what the number is. But next up, Casino, the Denver Broncos, which are listed at 5.5 almost everywhere, except you can get them at 6.5 on DraftKings. So
Yes, you can.
Go spend your money to get the under on DraftKings, because there's
Go.
no way in
Spend it
hell
all
this
day.
Denver team is a 7-win team.
Yeah. Yeah, all day. They're so under, and they're under 5, dude.
Yeah.
They're under 5. They're a 4. They're a 4-win team, maybe 5, but I think they'll be lucky to get 4. To get 4.
I think this is a guaranteed top 5 worst team in the league.
Oh, yeah.
I just think guaranteed.
No. All day.
Let's move on to Casino's favorite conference, which is the AFC East, home to his New England Patriots, which is who we'll start with, Casino. New England Patriots, over under 4.5.
Oh, man. We're going to be the worst team in the league. It's happening. And I'm fine with that. I want the number 1 overall draft pick, because as of training camp right now, Drake May apparently is getting outshined by the other quarterback that we picked up in the 6th round.
I did see that.
So it looks like Jacoby Brissett is our number 1 quarterback, which, again, I like Jacoby Brissett, but he is a solid backup or utility guy when you need him on his legs. But to be your starting quarterback, we saw it with the Browns last year. He fumbled right at the end of the game almost 5-6 times. That Browns team could have been damn near undefeated if they had Chubb and just a quarterback that didn't fumble all the time and mess up the final play. But I like Jacoby. He's going to do fine. But yeah, we're going to be the worst team in the league. The offense is just, there's nothing there for offense. The defense will be fine, but they're going to get ran down because they're going to be on that field constantly. So they're just going to get tired by the end of the game. And that's kind of what we saw last year, where the defense had them in games. And then all of a sudden it was just like, okay, well, they're done. Like they're too exhausted. But I'm really excited for Gerard Mayo as coach. He's one of my favorite Patriot players of all time. I like that he's shaking some things up. He's a defensive-minded coach, just like Belichick. He's going to keep a lot of probably what Belichick stood for and did as a defensive coach, but he's definitely not afraid to change things up. And my son is awake, so You continue on that. I'm going to go pick him up.
Yeah, and then if you look at the Patriots offense last year, obviously abysmal, and
Oh,
your
abysmal. It's going to be the same. Same.
yeah, your new quarterback getting outplayed by a 6th-round rookie has worked in the past when it comes to the New England Patriots. So we'll see how that goes. But the Patriots finished last season as the 7th best ranked defense in the league. Obviously, they got a defensive coach. Now, offensively, that's obviously not going to help them at all. But defensively, maybe it could bump them up to a top 5 team. But they do have to play this upcoming season all teams that the over under, I believe the Jets, we'll go to the Jets right now. The over under for them is set at 9.5. Oh, also, Casino's going under for the Patriots. I'm going over. I honestly think that 4.5 wins. I don't think they're going to be like a 10-win team, but I could easily see 5 or 6. They always play well against the Jets. They always play well at least one game against the Bills. The Dolphins, they always lose one, win one. So I'm not saying that'll happen this season because obviously Belichick's not there, but yeah, I'm still going over. I think they're a 5-6 win team max, but that's still over the 4.5. So I'll move on without Casino, and then we'll get his takes when he comes back. The New York Football Jets are set over under. Again, you can get them at 10 on that looks like Sportsbook, but you can get them at 9.5 basically everywhere else. As far as the New York Jets go, the big question mark, much like last year, is the same as it is this year, maybe even more so, because the question mark is Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, last year he lasted 40 seconds, which some guys would say is a long time. I'm not one of them, but some would. He's sitting down right now.
Let's go.
Yeah. Last year, Casino, Aaron Rodgers lasted 40 seconds. And I was just saying, for most guys, that's a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, isn't like the national average like 30?
For quarterbacks, I assume.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's what we're talking about. My bad. Oh.
As far as the New York Jets go, Casino, 9.5 over or under.
I mean that one's tough. I think they're going to be under just because they are still the Jets, and Rodgers is coming off of, no matter how great in the regular season Rodgers has been in his career, multiple MVPs. I can't trust Rodgers I don't know if I can trust Rodgers coming off an Achilles injury. Like any player coming off an Achilles injury is very, very concerning. You know, that's probably one of the, if not the worst injury you can get in professional sports when you have to run for a living.
Well, especially with the way Rodgers plays, which he's always been a very mobile, around the pocket guy, buying time to try to get wait for his receivers to get open. I was out on Rodgers last year, and I didn't think he would do anything for this Jets team. Obviously, I wasn't expecting injury, but I was out when I thought he would start a full season.
Dude, I just a quick note. I watched that happen in the hospital. We were waiting for my son. He wasn't being born that day, but the wife had to go in early, whatnot. And so I'm just watching it on the hospital TV, and like I audibly gasped. I'm surprised the nurses didn't come rushing in.
Yeah, that was one. That was even not as a Jets fan, that was a gut punch, because it was like, man, that is depressing. But more depressing is I'm also going under. I don't think this is a 10-win team.
No.
From what I've seen. I don't trust Rodgers nearly to the extent apparently the sports bookmakers do, because 10 seems insane to me. Next up, let's go to the team we were talking about a little bit ago with his new quarterback contract, Tua and the Miami Dolphins, over under 9.5, Casino.
Oh man. I think they are under. And
You did say under.
I no, yeah, and I do think they're going to be under. I can change my mind. It's been 2 days. But do say under still. I have trouble with quarterbacks getting paid, or just players in any sport getting paid and really getting paid, and then being able to perform to that level. We saw it with before the whole Deshaun
Deshaun Watson.
Watson thing came about. We saw that with him. He got paid and he just fell off a cliff. Like a lot happens to a lot of players. Ezekiel Elliott, I forgot to mention that one the other day. That one's probably the one that sticks out to me the most as of recent years. Like he was outstanding before he got paid, and then he was just like, all
Yeah.
good. So
Another yeah.
another
I'm actually going over.
that's fair.
It's set at 9.5. Do you have the strength of schedule for the Dolphins? Because
Yes, I
last
do.
year they were phenomenal. Obviously, we just talked about it. Floundered, no pun intended,
Yeah, it
against.
was. They have the eighth easiest.
Yeah, so eighth easiest. They finished 11-6 last year. They had some really weird games. I'm assuming they're going to have more this year, but they rebuilt, or they added a bunch of pieces on offense, added a bunch of pieces on defense. Yes, I am scared about Tua getting paid. Like you said, we have seen that just derail good players in the past, to just maybe not work as hard or care as much. I don't know, because they already, as the kids say, secured the bag. But Casino, I'm trying to
I
get
thought I was.
the.
I thought I was doing this show with you, not your son.
I hang around my 12-year-old. It's been summer. I'm seeing him every day. His lingo is rubbing off on me. But the Miami Dolphins, I'm going over. I think this is a 10-11 win team, but
That's
if they
fair.
were 9-8, I wouldn't be shocked. Last one in this division, the Buffalo Bills. The over/under is set at 10.5.
Going over just because I think they're still the cream of the crop until proven otherwise in that division. We got to see what Tua does this year. Again, good team, but now he's got paid. Let's see what happens. Still, and like Tyreek Hill and him were having some things last year, so we'll see if that has blown over. And then I don't know what Rodgers is. So until I see him play, coming off that injury, so. I still have them over just because of the division they're in, and yeah, they're still a decent team. Has their Super Bowl chances come down? And I do think so. I think they're third, maybe fourth best team in the AFC now. So, in my opinion, so I'm going to take them down.
Yeah, I just realized this because last time we did this in alphabetical order and not by division by division. We differ on the New England Patriots, on the Dolphins, and on the Buffalo Bills when it comes to this division, because I am going under with the Buffalo Bills. I think this is a 9-10 win team. They lost Diggs. They've just always had weird stuff coming out from behind the scenes with McDermott and with Josh Allen. And then obviously the whole Diggs thing that hung over them for a couple of years. They also lost Gabe Davis. I know
That
they
was a huge
draft.
loss.
Yeah.
I mean, losing Diggs, okay, one thing. Gabe Davis, I thought was their star last year.
Oh yeah, and he also felt like the security blanket when it came to
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen on third down, specifically. So I know they drafted a wide receiver, but yeah, I just don't know what. Because remember, before Stephon Diggs got there, Josh Allen was not as great a quarterback, or not even a good quarterback, compared to when Diggs got there. So now
Right.
is not his number one, but his number one and number two receiving option. We'll see. But I think the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl window is closed. I'm going under for the Bills, Casino, for the reasons I just listed. And that brings us to the AFC South, which is, I think, maybe the least interesting conference in the AFC. Uh,
No.
what do you think is, unless the AFC North is the most interesting, but the South, let's just start with the breadwinner of this division right now, the Houston Texans, over or under 9.5.
Over. I love CJ Stroud. I think they're going to have the same kind of season as they did last year. I mean, look what he did as a rookie, feeling super comfortable. It's not like I don't think it was all luck. He had composure behind the pocket. Like he just looked like he's been playing in the NFL for a very long time.
Yes.
And that was kind of like that Joe Burrow situation when Joe Burrow came in. He just felt like he has been playing the NFL for a long time. Just felt very comfortable in his position. So I think the Texans are over easily.
I completely agree. I think that this is maybe the most sure bet lock over, just from what we've seen from them almost all season last year. With when we were talking about Jordan Love, it was like half the season. With CJ Stroud, it was almost immediately everybody was like, oh, like we severely undervalued how good this guy could be. 9.5. I'm going over. I think, especially in this division, this is an 11, 12, maybe 13 win team. If they play as well as they did last year and there's no sophomore slump. But let's go to another team in that division that is a giant question mark for me, which is the Indianapolis Colts, over under at 8.5.
I'm going to go under. I don't know. I just don't trust the Colts in general, ever, about anything.
Yeah, I'm going under as well. I just think that we saw about as much of Anthony Richardson last year as we did Aaron Rodgers.
I was just about to say Anthony Richardson. Like, what is he? We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. So I can't make a good judgment on that. And so with the rest of the team, under.
And they also last year, they did, however, have, I'm looking up their total defense right now. They were the 14th rated total defense last year. So they're middle of the road. So if Anthony Richardson does come out, lights the world on fire, this could be a very good team. But again, I just don't know enough about this team to make a good guess of, or make a good case for why they would be over. So I'm going under, but the odds makers like them because I feel like 8.5 for this team is a weird number for me. I don't know. They finished last year 9-8. So maybe we are undervaluing the Colts, but this is one of those teams where I would never put
one
money
of
on
our
this.
close friends, or one of my close friends who listens to the show. He's a Colts fan, and he was like, I don't know how they're doing this.
Yeah. I don't, again, just a giant question mark when it comes to them, but I've always liked the Colts and I'll be rooting for them. Next up, Casino, in that same division, we are going to talk about, let me find them.
Our MVP.
Our MVP that let us down in more ways than one. And of course, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who the over-under is also set at 8.5.
Yeah. Oh man, I think they're going to do enough in their division with the other teams that are in there to pull out enough wins to make 8. I do. I still like Trevor Lawrence, so I think they'll do enough to make do and get over that hump.
So you're going over.
Yeah.
Oh, this is because again, we did this on Tuesday. This is the first change you've made.
Oh yeah.
Then that means I am still going under because we originally both went under. I am going.
We don't
under.
need to bring up last week, dude. We don't need to bring up Tuesday because I'm going to change up another one or two.
Ooh, and I'll be sure to point them out when you do.
Thank you.
But as far as it goes with the Jaguars, I mean, for them to be good, Trevor Lawrence needs to have a bounce back season. I thought he was, I would dare say, abysmal last year in about half the season, maybe more, and they still finished 9-8. I think Doug Peterson is a really good coach, but from what we saw with the Eagles with him, maybe his message starts to wane a little the longer he's at a place. I don't know. So I could see, because I do see weird, odd similarities between his coaching stint with the Eagles and what's happening with the Jaguars, but at least he got to and won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. I'm going under. Casino's going over. The last team in that division, Casino, that we need to talk about is, if my thing will actually work for a moment, it will. The last team we need to talk about in this division, Casino, is the Tennessee Titans without Derrick Henry. and they are set at 6.5 over under.
Under. Oh, it's a big change. You've changed. Yes, I did. Under.
No,
I'll
you
be
had
honest.
that. You had that under.
Oh, I
You
did
had
have
that
the
under
under.
last time. Yeah.
Oh, well,
So-
they're definitely under. But I think what made me make the Jags go over is I forgot that Henry wasn't on their team anymore, so they'll have a chance.
Or wait, you're going over?
No, I'm going under.
Oh, then you did change it because you picked over last time.
Yeah, I know
Now it's
that.
under.
I am paying attention. Somebody's not apparently.
Well, also you said that Henry's no longer on the Jaguars. He's no longer on the Titans.
No, yes, he's no longer on the Titans, which means why I think the Jaguars are going to get more wins in that division.
Also, I feel this is a necessity to point out when I see it. You can get the Titans 6.5 everywhere, except on DraftKings, where you can get them for over under 4.5, which is most of these are up half a game above or below. For that to be 2 full games
Damn.
under, that is
DraftKings
insane.
is throwing some shit out there, man.
Yeah, they seem to be the one that differentiates the most from everybody else, but go get your money if you have a strong opinion about the Tennessee Titans going over under. I don't know if they'll be a 4-win team. I definitely know they won't be a 7-win team. They got rid of Vrabel. They got rid of Derrick Henry. Will Levis good? I don't know. Do they have an offense outside of Derrick Henry?
No.
I don't know. I don't think they have enough offense to become a 7-8 win team. So I'm definitely going under. Next up, Casino, we are moving from the best conference in the AFC from the worst to the best. And that is the And I'm back.
Michaela, stop.
Back on the thing, but we're moving to the AFC North, Casino, with the cream of this division last year, which was the Baltimore Ravens, 10.5. Again, DraftKings, you can get them 8.5, which I would smash that if I was allowed to bet in DraftKings in Nevada. 8.5, 10.5. I think we're both going over regardless of those.
Yeah. So you know what's really funny? I like how we're doing this, but I feel like we're doing it this way. I feel like we're going longer than we did yesterday.
That's not true. That's not true. We did go much longer in the beginning part of this than we did last time, which
That's
I
fair.
think is what happened. But we're going over when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens.
My house is a zoo.
Yeah. What do we need to say? They got a great defense. Lamar Jackson, they came up play or two, maybe change 3 plays in that Chiefs game, and who knows, this Ravens team is going to the Super Bowl. But I think they have only added better pieces, like we just talked about with Derrick Henry. This is where he went. They're going to be a better rushing attack. I think their offense, I think their offense is going to be a top 3 offense in the league. Their defense is always a top 10 defense. There's no reason to think that this isn't a 11-12, possibly number 1 seed in the AFC.
All day.
Yeah. Next up, the biggest question mark from this conference is, can Joe Burrow stay healthy? We both hope he is, because
he gonna bounce back. He bouncing back. Joey B. I mean, Mr. Eminem. I mean, Mr. Slim Shady. I mean,
guess who's back?
Guess who's back?
It's Joe Burrow.
It's Joe Burrow.
And the line is set at 10.5. Again,
and
8.5.
The reason why we said that, the reason I make that joke is his new look that he came out with. If you haven't seen it, check it out. He could be in that music video of Real Slim Shady, Please Stand Up. And you wouldn't know that it was him.
Over under 10.5.
Over. They're back. I think this division is going to be outstanding. I think they're going to start wrecking some people. I mean, because I have the Ravens. You're right. I have the Ravens at like a 13-win team this year. I could have the Bengals at 11. Easy.
Well, the crazy thing with the Bengals is they finished last year at 9-8 and were bottom of their division. So they're getting a bottom a bottom of their division schedule. But again, their strength of schedule is so much higher than that because they play the 13-win Ravens, 11-win Browns, 10-win Steelers in their own division. So none of those I feel like are guarantee wins. Maybe the Browns when we talk to it, but we're both going 10.5. Again, we're projecting all this as if no one in the league gets hurt because we don't want to see anybody get hurt. But next up, Casino, let's talk about them. The Cleveland Browns.
Aaron Rodgers has a second Achilles, but
Cleveland Browns over under 8.5.
Under. They're going down. I mean, I love the Chubb. I do. I mean, but the Chubb has always been good.
We all know that.
The Chubb's always been good to me, except for when he ruined my fantasy football team last year. And yeah, so I think they're going to be a little under this year. I do. I think they'll finish last in the division this year.
I agree. I think we also have to take out the miracle Joe Flacco wins that kind of is inflating their schedule from last year. They're not going to have those miracle wins, at least not with Joe Flacco.
No.
I think Deshaun Watson might be, again, as the kids say, cooked. I think he might be done, Casino.
Yeah.
This is really the season
we talked about it last time, and I want to just make sure we get around that again. Is he got his money? He doesn't seem like he wants to be in the public eye anymore. He doesn't want to be in the limelight after everything that's happened with.
He definitely seems like he doesn't want to be in Cleveland.
Not only his career, but his personal life, and all of the massages and everything that took place. That it doesn't even seem like he wants to be. He wants people to forget his name. So, I mean, best bet is win a few games, but don't be flashy. Don't get super cooked. Don't be well done. Be a good medium well kind of player.
Exactly. I'm going under as well for that same reason. 8.5, I feel like is a insane line for this team. Next up, speaking of 8.5, that's exactly what the Steelers are listed at. So over under Pittsburgh Steelers, Casino.
I think this might be the year that's just I do. I think this might be the year that the Steelers and Tom does not get his at least 50%.
Yeah.
I think he's finally going to lose that streak this year on. I think they're going to be under 50% for the season. Just feels like that's going to happen.
I completely agree. I mean,
by maybe one, maybe two games, but yeah.
Yeah, this has 6, 7, maybe 8-win team written all over it.
I have like 7 for me there.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get that 9 wins that they need.
No. So I agree. We're both going under for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's now move over to the NFC, and let's start with the NFC West and the Super Bowl runner-ups, the San Francisco 49ers, which the over-under is set at 11.5.
I still think they're going to be very good, especially in that division where I don't trust the Seahawks. I think they're going to decline. The Cardinals. Exactly. I know. I'm out of your little yogis that you like. I get it. It's bottle time anyway. So I'm going to give my prediction real quick. Hold on. And then I will go get your bottle, and then you can drink your bottle. How's that sound? Negotiations. I'm over. And I'll be right back.
Yes. I'm also going over when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers. As an Eagles fan, I would say they're probably my second most hated team behind the Cowboys. But we're not doing an Eagles podcast. We're doing an NFL podcast. So I have to put my biases aside. And I think the 49ers, they didn't lose anybody. It looks like, by all accounts from training camp footage, that the Ayuk or I think it was Ayuk situation looks to be mended or on its way to be mended. Maybe he's on his way to be getting paid. I don't know, but I don't think there's anything that has happened this offseason that would make you think the 49ers won't be right back here. Now you can think superstitiously about a Super Bowl hangover, or something like that. But I don't see any other team in this division, at least the minimum the 49ers will do this season is win this division, unless you think the Rams are going to be really good. So yeah, I'm going over with the San Francisco 49ers. Casino, we both are. Let's talk about maybe the only potential contender for the throne of NFC West champs, which is the Los Angeles Rams. They're over under set at 8.5.
I don't know what to go with them, so I'm just gonna say over. Is that what I picked last time? I don't remember.
No, you picked under, I picked over.
Okay.
So you sticking with it or going over?
I'll just stay under then.
Okay. Then I am going over. I think obviously the loss of Aaron Donald is, I feel like, going to hurt this defense, but I think this offense is going to be so explosive, it might not even matter. So yeah, 8.5. I'm going over. Casino's going under. I think this is a 9-10 win team, and right there with the 49ers to see who can win that NFC West. Two teams I don't think will be in the NFC West contention is the Arizona Cardinals. Shockingly, their over under is set at 7.5. Over under, Casino.
There we go. Yep. Sorry, my bad. I thought I had myself muted. Under. I don't trust this team. I don't like the small quarterback thing. I'll talk on that when we get to Bryce Young as well. The Cardinals, this organization, they make me nervous as an organization. Like I feel bad for them. I just do.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely down there for me. I think that's an insane number. 7.5. That's just 7.5, 6.5, whatever it is. There's it's split. It's just insane. That's too much.
I even would say 6.5. I would be going under. I think this is a 4 or 5 win team at most. Last year, they finished with the 25th overall defense. And again, you have the question marks with Kyler Murray and his health. And then you have DeAndre Hopkins and his health.
I would still take the Seahawks over. And I'm going to pick the Seahawks. So we just moved to that one. I'm going to pick the Seahawks to be the under as well for their 7.5. And I think the Seahawks beat the Cardinals for last in that division. So, or the Cardinals get last in that division, the Seahawks beat them. So that, yeah, I agree with you. Cardinals 4 or 5 wins, Seahawks like 6, 7 wins, maybe.
We are lock and step in this because I think that's exactly how it's going to go.
And it's not going to go that way though. So,
I know we're always wrong about this, but this is a fun exercise. So let's just move on, Casino, to my conference, home of the Philadelphia Eagles, my team, the NFC East over and under. And let's start with the Eagles projected over under 10.5.
Over. Yeah, no, I have the Eagles doing very well again. They're going to be up there to possibly go back to the Super Bowl again. They're not my Super Bowl pick, but I have them right up there.
I agree. I think they're right in the mix with the 49ers, who might be having a Super Bowl hangover. So I really think it's going to be them in Detroit this year.
They're also in the top 10 easiest schedule.
Yeah,
for the year.
Also they got.
I like the Eagles.
Massive upgrades at offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They got Saquon Barkley. Getting
Saquon is absolutely that's what's going to get them to possibly be that Super Bowl threat again. Like they're always right there in that mix the last few years, right? I mean, obviously they went. They lost to the Chiefs, but they should make the Super Bowl again. They're not my pick, but they should.
I completely agree. Last year, they finished with the 26th ranked defense in the league, and then they made a massive coordinator change with Vic Fangio coming in. They brought back the CJ Gardner-Green safety. They made a bunch of really smart picks in the draft in the offseason. I just think, again, the loss of Kelsey is going to hurt, but I don't think losing your center is as big of a detriment as if you were losing like a quarterback
I
or
mean,
even a head
but
coach.
he's arguably the best center to ever play the game. At least in the last, I mean, definitely probably in the last, whatever his career was, 15 years or whatever.
That's
But
true. But
uh, yeah, so
even if they
that's
go
tough.
from the number one center to the league to like the 15th
Well, let
best
me
center
ask
in
you
the league.
this: do you still think that they will have a successful Philly push, the tush push? That was all driven because of Jason Kelsey.
Yes, because the replacement is handpicked by Kelsey, learned under Kelsey, apparently is still being
There you
taught
go.
every day by Kelsey.
There you go. There you have
So
it.
I think if there's any secrets to that, he has definitely passed it along and will be with this organization this year in some sort of coaching capacity to make sure the O-line stays where they are. And then obviously you have Jeff Stoutland there and all that kind of stuff. So we're both going over for them. Next up, Casino, Cowboys, 9.5 over under.
Under. I don't trust the Cowboys at all. I mean, they're middle of the road for strength of schedule, but I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like what Jerry Jones is doing. There's too many question marks. You alluded to it earlier. CeeDee Lamb is disgruntled. Dak is disgruntled. Like, it doesn't matter. And last year, when things were good, in quotations, they were still beating up on the bad teams and losing to the good teams. So I think now they struggle against some of the bad teams this year.
Yeah, I pretty much mirror exactly what you just said. The Eagles got infinitely better at all the positions they were bad at last year. And then the Cowboys kind of lost almost every area they were good at last year in terms of rush defense and pass offense. And they have no running game whatsoever because again, they're playing with a what? Bunch of unknowns and then Ezekiel Elliott, who is past his prime for at least minimum 3 years now. So who knows what this offense is
Again, I
going to
talked
be.
about it earlier. He got paid.
Yeah.
I don't think honestly he's truly past his prime. I think he just got paid and he don't give a shit.
Yeah, and then I mean, if this CeeDee Lamb thing gets ugly or bad, if they lose CeeDee Lamb, I mean, what is this offense legitimately going to be? So I think there's too many question marks where they are definitely under for me. Let's go next, Casino, to the where are they? The Commanders, and they are over under set at 6.5. Jaden Daniels, the new quarterback. Wait, did you guys do Jaden Daniels or was that no, that's Commanders.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels making the start at quarterback for
Yeah,
them.
we did Drake May.
That's true. So over under 6.5.
I have no idea. What did I pick last time? Was it under? Because I don't trust. I think so. I'm just gonna stick to that. I have no thoughts on this team whatsoever.
Actually, we both picked over.
Okay, then I'm gonna say over. I forgot about this team. To be honest, it is what it is.
Yeah, this is one of the teams, again, I feel like is just a bunch of unknowns. Obviously, they're starting a rookie quarterback, new coach, all that kind of stuff. I believe also Eric Bieniemy left this team, but we'll get more in depth when we go division by division in the next couple weeks of episodes. We're doing it like we did last couple of years, where each episode will dedicate to a division and then just break down each team, who he thinks win in the division, blah, blah, blah. So we're both going over, or maybe no, we're both going over on this one. So yeah, I think this could be a 7-8 win team. They finished this season last year as a 4-13 team. I think they'll be better. They've loaded up on both offense and defense. They were one of the biggest spenders this offseason. So yeah, again, we'll see. I honestly don't know why we both went over, but here we are sticking to it. Next up, Casino, the New York Giants at 6.5.
Who?
The New York
under.
Giants.
That's just let's not talk about them. They're just under.
Yeah. Potential to be top 5 worst team in the league, in my opinion.
Potential gonna happen. I don't know why I hate the Giants so much. It's just gonna happen. I mean, I said that. I said that last.
Patriots fan.
I said that last year. Oh yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
mean, I said that last year and they did real well, but you know what? I don't feel it. Nah, they're under.
Well, they were a 6-win team last year. I don't
They're
think they
so mid. They're so mid.
Oh man, getting that youth vote, getting that
Yeah.
youth audience right here. I agree. Under for the Giants. Let's move on now, Casino, to the NFC South, where we are starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Over under. I mean, this one is legitimately the one team where everyone has a different number, but I'm going with the lowest. So over under 7.5.
I'm gonna go over. I'm changing that. I am changing that because I mean, you brought up a good point. I was so high on Baker last year, playing well, and they kind of figured it out. So I'm gonna go and with a couple other teams in that division. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna be better this year. So I'm gonna go over. I'm still gonna pick the Falcons, which I know we haven't got there yet, but they're who I'm gonna pick to win the division. Um, but Baker's going to do definitely over that.
You know what? Because you changed this one, I'm going to change my Commanders one and say under. I don't know why I thought they were a 7-win team
All right,
looking
fair
at
enough.
what they are. So I'm going over as well for Tampa Bay. Uh, as we discussed previously, I think Baker has gotten into a good rhythm, gotten into a team that benefits what he does well. You obviously have Mike Evans there. I think their defense will improve. And yeah, I just think in this easy division, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the class of it. Let's go to our next team in this division, Casino.
Yeah,
As
this is my house, man.
with the Atlanta Falcons, as you just talked about, over under 9.5. Dear Lord.
I'm going over. I'm going over. That's what I picked last time. I think I like this Falcons team. I definitely like the best mediocre quarterback of all time, um, with Cousins going over there. Yes, he's we got to see what he can do coming back from injury, but yeah, I'll take him all day to do over.
Yeah, last
They
year
didn't
this
have a quarterback last year,
and they were still 7-10 to finish out last
and
season.
their
So
games were really close. So I'm going them.
yeah, the Atlanta Falcons over under 9.5. I do think they have this has the potential to be a 10, 11, 9-win team. They finished last year with the 11th best defense in the league, but for some reason, I just do not trust Kirk Cousins changing scenery, coming back from an injury. Again, we talk about age and how hard it is for quarterbacks of a certain age to come back from injuries. We'll see that with Rodgers. We're going to be seeing the same thing with Kirk Cousins. I don't know how much I trust him. So for that reason right there, I'm going under. I think this is an 8-9 win team.
And for that
But if
reason, right there, you're out.
yeah, I'm out.
Shark
I'm
Tank
out.
that shit.
Shark Tanked it. I'm not buying Kirk Cousins stock. I'm not buying Aaron Rodgers stock. I'm not buying quarterback stock for older quarterbacks coming back from injury, especially on new teams. Uh Next up, Casino. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. 7.5
New
over
Orleans,
under.
buddy, get it. New Orleans,
New Orleans, New
New
Orleans,
Orleans, New
New
Orleans,
Orleans, New Orleans.
New Orleans.
7.5.
Under.
Yeah, I agree. Who's going to be
I
playing quarterback for this team?
don't know.
Derek
Hill.
Derek Carr, Taysom Hill.
It's Taysom Hill.
I think the Saints, I think you mentioned this last time, might be one of those teams I always forget is in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said that same thing and you nailed it on the head. Like I always forget the Saints since Drew Brees retired is still a team. So they're maybe the team I pay attention to the least. Sorry for our Saints fans that are listening,
Yeah, my
but
brother-in-law, Saints fan.
I'm just this team does nothing for me. 7.5. I'm going under as well, just because I don't know how they could go over. I really don't. Last, but they will definitely not be as bad as the bottom feeder in this division for probably years to come. Carolina Panthers, 5.5. Casino.
Under. They're going to be fighting with the Patriots on being the worst team in the league. Oh man, Bryce Young is so short.
uh, I mean,
I'm taller than him.
we both are. Yeah. I mean, my
I
wife
couldn't imagine myself playing NFL football.
My wife is almost eye level with Bryce Young, and I don't think she would make a very good quarterback, just based on height alone. But yeah, I just think under. There's nothing I saw from Bryce Young last year where there was even a flash of something that I would be willing to bet him in any capacity to win games. I don't think this Carolina Panthers team, especially after they got rid of who was it, DJ Moore to the
Yeah.
Panthers, who actually just got paid a huge contract for the Bears, which we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, I just don't think there's anything this Panthers team has that would make me think they're going to be a good team next year. So this is my lock pick to be a top 5 worst team in this upcoming season. So,
Oh, top 3 lock pick.
which means they'll probably win this division, and me and you will have to atone for our sins. But
Again,
I doubt it.
We'll just have to stop doing this show. I mean, we almost did it. We almost did it.
True.
We did.
That's good. Good call.
Thank you.
Last division we have to talk about today, Casino. Speaking of the Bears, they were the number 1 pick. They got Caleb Williams, and their over under might shock some people with what the odds makers are thinking, because it definitely shocked me. Going from worst to first, number 1 pick to over under. I mean, they are as high over under as 9.5, but we're going with the lowest right now, which is 8.5. This is insane to me. Go over under.
Under.
I don't what like I can't. What is the case to be made that the Bears are going to be a 10-11 win team in this division?
No idea.
What are they have, I believe, if you look at their strength of schedule, they have, I think, the easiest strength of schedule. So maybe that's it. But again, to put this much expectations on a rookie quarterback that he's going to take the team that just picked number 1, as now they're going to be potentially winning this division or a playoff team, it's insane to me. Insane. Everybody just saw what CJ Stroud did last year and was like, "Oh, that's just what quarterbacks do in their first year starting." Completely missing the point of what is it, happened in Carolina with the quarterback we were just talking about, Bryce Young, who went 2-15. So, if you're starting a rookie quarterback, you could have CJ Stroud, but you could also have Bryce Young on a 2-15 team. So the Bears last year finished 7-10. So maybe they're thinking, with all the offensive pieces and Caleb Williams they added, this is a 3-win better team, 2-win better team, which I just don't know. I'm not that high on Caleb Williams. I'm definitely not high enough to pick over for 9.5. I mean, 8.5 is pushing it. 9.5 is legitimately insane to me. But I'm going under for this Bears team. I think they're kind of right where they were last year, a 6, 7, 8-win team, but still under for me. Let's go to one of their most storied rivals in NFL history, Casino. Love just got paid. Green Bay Packers over under 9.5.
I'm going to go over on this one. I think that I don't know what the Vikings are going to be. I don't believe in the Bears. So I'm going to definitely pick the Packers over. Yes, Love getting paid scares me, but
yeah.
Good thing we're almost done with the end of the show. We're on our last couple.
We got
2 more teams.
Yeah.
2 more teams. I'm definitely going to go Packers over.
This is one of the few ones we differentiate on. I am going Packers under. I think they, again, 7-8 win, 9-win team. I really think they finished 9-8. So I think this is a 9-win team. Over under is 9.5. Again, the Love getting paid thing scares me, like we've been talking about all episode, but I think their defense is really good. Could be great. They finished last year as I believe top. Oh, the Bears actually finished with a better defense. So maybe I'm underselling the Bears and overselling the Packers. Packers were 17 total defense. Bears were 12th. I'm still going under just slightly. I don't think they get to a 10 win. I think they're a 9-win team. So next up, Casino, as we finish this right now, Minnesota Vikings. Apparently, JJ McCarthy is just lighting it up in minicamp, which I know everyone believes in minicamp stories where the new quarterback in town is just lighting it up. The number is 6.5 for the Minnesota Vikings. Both Casino and I are going under for pretty much the same reasons, because outside of Justin Jefferson, I don't know what this Minnesota team is.
I have no idea.
Neither of us were high on JJ McCarthy in college. I don't know how he wasn't a good college quarterback. And then suddenly he's just going to explode and be a great NFL quarterback. I mean, unless you guys think he's Brady out there listening, but Minnesota Vikings under. And then I know for a fact who is Casino's Super Bowl pick, the Detroit Lions.
Oh, yes, they are. They were one Dan Campbell decision. I'm just gonna start calling them the Campbell. That decision. They were one Campbell away from going to the Super Bowl, man. It was gonna happen.
Yeah, I think again we talked about how the Buffalo Bills had a Super Bowl window for like 5 years there and then kind of blew it. I really do think the Detroit Lions are in that year 2, year 3 of a 5-year window where they're just going to be contenders for not only number 1 seed in the NFC, but Super Bowl contenders. And again, as long as it's not at the expense of my Eagles, every team the Lions are going to be facing, I'm going to be rooting for them. Everybody wants to see this lovable loser franchise get to a Super Bowl, finally win it, especially with Dan Campbell, Jared Goff. They really do feel like kind of like the island of misfit toys. Obviously, we've already seen Jared Goff get to a Super Bowl when he was at the Rams. But yeah, we're both going over, especially with so many question marks with Philly. Maybe San Francisco's in a Super Bowl hangover. Detroit should be the number 1 seed in the NFC if all goes according to plan. That Casino has been
It was a very choppy ending to the Only Sports Podcast.
This is the end of the Only Sports Podcast, as Casino just said. We will be back every Tuesday and Thursday with some Sundays mixed in there, especially during the NFL season. But yeah, this has been a joy. We're glad to be back. We will not be taking any 2-month hiatuses anytime soon. So
Not planned, at least.
yeah. Welcome us with open arms back into your podcast feed or your YouTube algorithm. We will see you on Tuesday, where I believe we will be talking about the AFC West, breaking them down, and then also talking about probably the Olympics or anything in the sports world that's happening. So we're back. I'm Casino. That is, or no, I'm not Casino. That's
Jesus.
Casino. I'm Will. The audio crystal clear on this one, unlike the
Yeah, I know.
episode
You
we'll
could hear
never
every scream of my child, of my children.
But
They're
yeah,
fine. I promise. They're fine. I mean, as he screams, but he is perfectly
go.
happy in his playpen. He just had his bottle. I don't know.
And you were right. This was much longer than the last episode.
Yeah.
We'll try to be shorter next time, but no promises. I'm Will. That's Casino. This has been the Only Sports Podcast with special appearances by Casino.
You want to know why I've gained 10 pounds?
We'll see you Tuesday. Adios.
I make it.